Hey everyone, it's Andy Fletcher here for Convertri. Thank you so much for coming to the second of these Q&A and demo webinars. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon here on a Sunday. And just for anyone who's not been on one of these calls before, a quick outline of the format. We're going to start off with a demo. I'm going to take you through some of the cool features of Convertri. I'll show you how the WordPress plugin works, how to create pop-ups with layers, and how to trigger them on exit intent on click. And when the page reaches a certain point of the scroll, I'm going to show you how to make that into a two-step opt-in, and I'm going to show you how to make sticky headers. For anyone who's not been on one of these calls before, the question and answers panel will be minimized while I'm doing the presentation. We tried it the other way, where I encouraged people to ask questions while I was presenting, and unfortunately it massively triggers my ADHD, and then I read every single question and I have to answer them because I'm also OCD as well. And then like the one person who's getting an answer is like, oh, this is really cool. And everyone else is like, Andy, please finish the thought that's in your head. We would like to get to the end of the presentation. So I will minimize the Q&A box while I'm presenting. So if you do ask something during that, don't be offended that I'm not answering it then. I will go back through and answer, like I hang around at the end as long as you like, and you can ask me anything you want. And if the demos start to run a little bit long, or if there's a particularly complicated bit, I will pause just to make sure everyone's understood. Cool. So I see a couple of questions in the chat box already. If you don't mind, I'm going to do the presentation section first, and then we'll hit the Q&A afterwards. This is slightly for selfish reasons. It does make the replay that we do quite a lot better, because the Q&A tends to be less interesting for other people. They like the demo section more. So we try and do that as early on in the thing, and then we do Q&A at the end. So people coming along later don't have to wade through a bunch of questions just to get to the demo. No offense meant to anyone. So without further ado, let's crack on with the WordPress plugin. So this is the back end of our blog.convertri.com, and I've already installed the plugin. I doubt anyone here needs a demo of installing a plugin, but if you do, first of all, you get it from the WordPress plugin menu here. Click the download button, it'll download it, and then you upload it on your WordPress blog. If you are completely new to WordPress, don't freak out, don't worry. We do have a guide on setting it up, and you can email support for help. I'm just going to do a demo of how it works, because that tends to be the bit that people are more interested in. So the first thing you need to do is publish your page on Convertri somewhere. So in this case, for those of you that were here on Thursday, this is the page we built then, or rather the slightly better version that one of the designers did rather than me doing it live. When you click on the View Page button, it will show wherever you've published to. You need to copy that URL. Then when we come into Convertri, I'm going to click Add New on the pages. Give it a title, so this is Convertri Demo. And then I will, let's go Convertri Demo Sunday, because I already created a test one of these earlier. Then in the Convertri connector box down here, paste the URL in. So that's the URL that's come from the address bar here. And hit publish. Then when we open that up, that is that page, but displayed on blog.convertri.com, like so. You can ignore the index.php. Looks like our company blog's not 100% configured right. That's not the Convertri connector. That's us being foolish. But yeah, so this would be blog.convertri.com/Convertri Demo Sunday. So you can see this is this page published on Convertri, appearing on your WordPress blog, as easy as that. Next up, we're going to do a demo of how to create layers and then how to trigger them. So I'm going to open up my version of the page that we were working on Thursday for this. Cool, so this is the layers panel. This works a little bit differently. If you're used to working with Photoshop, it's not quite the same concept. If you're used to Photoshop, you'll be used to you kind of put most stuff in its own layer. In Convertri, don't be confused, because layers in Convertri are kind of separate canvases to draw on. and anything that isn't the main layer will stick in the browser viewport wherever you put it. So whereas when we scroll the page like this, everything scrolls. If we create a layer, let's call it sticky header because that's what I'm going to build first, and then select it so we're editing that layer. When we put something like a panel, for example, on the page and scroll, you'll see the panel that's on the layer sticks where you put it, and the page content scrolls behind it. So what we can use this for is to, for example, there's not an amazing amount of point, like I'm demoing how you build it. It's not really relevant to this page. A sticky header doesn't mean much when the page isn't much longer than the screen would be. For this, you've got to imagine this page is like a sales page. It's something quite a lot longer. But we can create this. This will be our backing panel. Make it black. So to distinguish it from the page, then we'll stick some text on here. So this is section 1. Make it white so it stands out. Pop that in there. And then the next bit can be section 2. So now you can see as I scroll, this stays on the page at the top. Then if let's just publish that to show you what it looks like. Oops, there we go. That was the thing I was looking at. So this checkbox here, check it to make it start out visible on the page. So for example, in a minute, I'm going to build a 2-step opt-in, and we'll start that out invisible. Obviously, a header section we want to start visible on the page. So you can see, I'll just close up my browser a bit so there's something to scroll. So you can see as I scroll down the page, the header stays put because that's on a layer and layers stick in the browser. And just to cover that one more time in case it was confusing. So in layers, this checkbox will decide whether this header appears on the page to start with or not. So for something like a sticky header that you always want to be on the page, you want it to start out visible. For something that you want to appear later on, so a pop-up like we're going to build next, you would set it to start invisible on the page. Right, so next up, let's build a pop-up. So now we're going to edit the pop-up. The header disappears for a moment. This will be our pop-up. Let's design this a little bit better. So we're going to go, let's make the background near white. And then we will, let's give it a little bit of a shadow. Lots of blur. So you'll see that'll pop it up from the layer below so it looks like it's coming out of the screen. Then we will repeat our hero image. Make that a little bit bigger. Cool, so I've now built very similar. You can see the form is exactly the same as we had on the other layer, but now we have this pop-up that we're going to trigger in a variety of ways on the page. So let's start with doing, in fact, the best example that everyone always wants to know about is a two-step opt-in. So first of all, back to layers. Just a reminder, we're going to start it invisible because we don't want this layer to show on the page to start with. We want something to happen that triggers to open it. So we'll go back to editing the main page. We no longer want this email entry box because that's going to be on the layer. That's going to be in the pop-up. So we'll now take our download now button and we go over to actions. So we add what's called an element trigger. So when something happens to this button, we want something else to happen on the page. So in this case, when the button is clicked, we want to fade in the pop-up. So the trigger is what happens to this element. The behavior is what happens somewhere else in the rest of the page. And then this is the target for the behavior. So we're saying for this element, when it's clicked, we want to fade in the pop-up layer. So if I publish that now, do a little refresh on here. Now you see this download now button will fade in this box. And then this form works exactly the same as it would have if it was on the lower part of the page, if it was on this underneath layer, the main layer, but we've got this two-step opt-in effect. The reason we like two-step opt-ins is because of a concept called micro-commitments. People are quite wary these days of forms in web browsers. Like, 5 years ago, somebody would come see a form and almost be excited to fill it out. Now they're very aware what filling out a form means. They know they're going to be sent something. So we get them to commit to wanting our thing, in this case our 7 nutrients vegan ebook, and when they click download now, that's what triggers this pop-up to say give us your email and we'll send it to you. Obviously if I was making this a full page, I'd probably put just a few more words in here to encourage them to fill it out, to explain what's going to happen, but the demo's fine there. So quick reminder, we have the layer which we want to start out invisible because we don't want it on the screen to start with. Then on the button, we create an action, which is on click, we want to fade in the pop-up. And that's how we create this effect that when we click this button, this layer appears. Then if we want, we can change the backdrop color. This will put a layer over the rest of the page. So let's go with a sort of a darkish gray. I don't know how that'll look, but yeah, so that's far too heavy. We need some bunch of opacity in there. Again, one of the best reasons for using Convertri is everything is very what you see is what you get. I made a mistake there. I forgot to put any transparency on the color, and then you can immediately see what that looks like. I don't have to publish it and then come back and change it. I can just see it in my browser and fix it relatively easily. So we'll republish that just to show you what it looks like. And then refresh in here. So when I click on download now, you see this fades in, and now we've got this background color that covers the rest of the page. Makes it a bit clearer that this is what we want to focus on. Right, the next trigger we're going to talk about, wrong one, next trigger is a page trigger, and that's exit intent. So what happened, that's basically as they move the mouse off the top of the page as if they're going to exit, because if somebody's reading a page and they move their mouse like this, it's probably because they're going for the address bar, or they're going to click on a different tab. So that's the point that we want to hit them with something to say, well, maybe you don't want to leave. And in this case, I'm just going to show the same pop-up, but you could create an entirely separate layer with a different, wait before you go, be a bit more shocking because they haven't clicked download now. So on exit intent, we want to fade in, or in fact, because we want to be quicker, we're just going to show it. And we'll have it show the pop-up. So publish that again. And then when we refresh here in the browser, now this time I'm not going to click on the download button. I'm going to go as if I'm going to leave. And as I go to leave, bam, the pop-up comes up, and it's then that much more encouraging. I should fill this out. The other trigger you can use is an element one. Now, this is for longer pages that have some scroll to them. So I want you to imagine for this one, this is more for sales pages rather than squeeze pages. But imagine this page was a lot longer and we've got just a load more content. What we have is an action where we say scroll top into view. So what this says is when the top of this element comes up into the browser, we want something to happen. So again, in this case, we're going to fade in the pop-up. So when this bar scrolls into view, and I'll make the page short just for demo purposes, we're going to fade in the same pop-up as we had before. So first I'm going to publish that. Then for demo purposes, we'll make the browser window nice and short. So then as I scroll, you'll see the blue bar comes up. And when it does, that fades in. So it's as we hit a certain point of the page, we have this responsiveness in our page to have something happen. Cool. So quick review of what we've covered. First of all, WordPress plugin. Very simple. Make sure you copy and paste the URL that you want to display. You must publish your page first on Convertri. The plugin's not just showing the pages on your WordPress blog. The plugin is displaying a page that's published on Convertri somewhere. So copy and paste wherever it's published to. And then in edit page, literally all you have to do is give it a title, fill in the Convertri connector box, and click update. Then when you view it, your page will be shown on your WordPress blog. Then for layers, we have two different types of layers. We have ones that start out visible. This is very useful for things like sticky headers that stay on the page. Let me make this a bit bigger. There we go. So we have this one that stays in place on the page even when we scroll. And then we have ones which start out invisible, and then we have an action that displays them. And then in this case, we had a bunch of actions. We set it so when they click on this button, when they scroll this bar into view, and if they go to leave the page, all of them show that pop-up that encourages them to fill in their email address. Cool. That's demos for today, guys. Oh, yeah, okay. So I see we've got a whole bunch of questions from while I was talking, so I'll start answering those. And if you've got any other questions, please start typing them into the chat, and I'll go down the list and answer them. Hey, Garfield. Garfield asked about foreign languages and alphabets, like how well do they import? And the answer is it varies massively. By default, our position is that we're only kind of guaranteed to work with English. Some languages, it's quite font dependent as well, import very well, some don't. With any kind of foreign language, about the best you can do is try it and see. D asks, what happens in a funnel sequence when you publish a page on WordPress? Do you need to add all individual funnel pages in WordPress, or will they automatically appear on one WordPress page you used? So the first page will appear in WordPress, and then after they leave that page, for example, if they fill out the form, it will depend where you set a redirect to go. So by default, in your funnel diagram, let me just pop out so I can point to stuff while I talk. So in our funnel diagram, you see in this case, we've got the 7 nutrients, demo squeeze, and an arrow pointing at this thank you page. By default, the thank you page will be the one published on Convertri. But if you want to, you can do exactly the same thing as we did to get the 7 nutrients page onto your WordPress blog for the thank you page, and then set the redirect to go there. But that does require a little bit of extra manual setup. I can't stress enough, we've built the WordPress plugin to make it easy for people that want to do that, but I would highly recommend using a subdomain of your main domain. So, for example, if you're publishing on www.mydomain.com, if that's your WordPress blog, creating something like landers.mydomain.com or offers.mydomain.com or special.mydomain.com, any of those will work really well. And then you don't have to worry about faffing with the WordPress plugin. And literally the only difference is what appears at the very start of the URL. It will make no difference to your life, and it will make your life easier. Apologies so about 10 minutes ago, yeah, this is the downside to me hiding the Q&A box. Apparently about 10 past, we had a couple of like sound and video issues that then resolved themselves. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, D has asked, how do you get rid of the white border at the bottom of embedded WordPress page currently visible on your blog? I presume you're talking about there's no white space at the bottom of the page. If you make the page longer than the content there is, then white will appear below it. But that's only because the browser was made quite tall. It's not because that's just there. Hey, John. John's asking about hover changes. So at the moment, hover changes in the editor. So, for example, if we wanted... go to webinars question and answer box. Really hard to work with. I have to keep dragging it out of the way when I want to do a demo. So if we wanted something to happen, like, for example, on mouse over this button, we could do like background and then on mouse over to specify the color we want for it. Unfortunately, they are element level things. We haven't exposed that for text yet. So if you did want a different color, you need to use some custom CSS for that, which we can help you with in support. But for the record, all our testing has shown those like hover effects, particularly on text links, make no difference. Like it really matters having a clear distinction. Like it needs to be obvious that something is a link and is clickable, but having it change when you move a mouse over it makes no difference. That said, we know everyone wants to do it still, so it is something we're gonna set up. Good question. So Boy asks, how do you get out the background when the pop-up comes up? So in order to do that, you need to set up some kind of on-click to close it. So I'm going to do a quick example. I don't think I've got a suitable graphic to hand, so you may have to use your imagination. So we will go layers, pop up. Do I have any good graphics in here that are suitable? So don't. Okay, fine. We're going to use, please forgive me. So you've got to imagine that this ebook that I'm using here in the top right-hand corner is actually like an X graphic or something. So, but you pop it on the corner or whatever, and then we set up a trigger on this exactly the same as anything else. So we go actions, element triggers. So we want to say on click, fade out, the pop-up. So that's this. You've got to imagine that's big red X or something, standard like circle with an X in it graphic. And then when it's clicked, fade out the pop-up. And that's on the actions menu here. So as noted, forgive me for not having a graphic to hand, but you guys have got imaginations. I'm sure you can imagine how that works. So that's that there. And then when we click it, that will fade the pop-up out and take us back here. And then it works the same. So I can click on download now, it comes back, click to close. So you can wire your pages up to do that if you want. Alex asks, will it be WYSIWYG in all browsers, e.g. WebKit versus Mozilla? So the pages you publish, yes. The editor is Chrome only. So we've spent an inordinate amount of time making the publishing system look as close to pixel perfect between browsers as we possibly can. That works really, really well. But to do so, we've constrained the editor to be Chrome only to make that easier for us, because we use a load of Chrome's cutting edge features. That was like kind of the price for it. Cool. D, I think I've answered your question about the how to exit the box just now, so I'll skip ahead. Ian says, cool WordPress plugin, makes it easy, but doesn't list out every page we've created, which makes it better for client work. Yep, so at the moment, you do need to, like, there's no kind of selectors in there. You do need to copy and paste the URL out of your WordPress blog. Oh, cool. Yeah, okay, so memo to self for next time. Sorry, I see loads of people asking, how do you close the pop-up? So yeah, I've done that demo now. Sorry for not doing that to start with. That's a pretty obvious question. I should have seen coming. Jeff asks, if we use the plugin to display a WordPress homepage, will we get the Convertri speed benefit? So the answer is mostly, unless you're on crap hosting. So to explain a little bit about how this works, when you publish a Convertri page on your WordPress blog, when someone requests the page on your WordPress blog, that loads up an iframe into the browser, which then tells the browser basically display this page that's over there. And that's when it loads from Convertri. So it does a tiny, really light request to WordPress first that then says, go get this page from Convertri, which happens really fast. So assuming your hosting isn't terrible, then it shouldn't affect your page loads that much, because it doesn't have to do much to load it. But that said, it will be a bit slower. And if you're on an absolutely terrible host, then yes, it will be terrible, because that's not within our control. Again, if in doubt, I wouldn't use the WordPress plugin. It's there for convenience because people insist on doing it that way. And if people want to do it, then we'll support you. But our advice is there are better ways. Stella asks, can sites be seen and used in China? As far as I know, we've done some kind of Chinese proxy testing, but China is a bit of a law unto itself. So I'm not going to sit here and guarantee you that every Convertri page can definitely be seen in all parts of China. I don't know for sure. Simon asks, is there anything to watch out for with a giveaway advertised on Instagram, and could I upsell the product at a limited time discount from the page? Sorry, so I'm going to have to take a pass on this one. I know almost nothing about Instagram marketing, so I don't really know what their rules and regs are. I don't really want to take a guess and lead you wrong. Sorry. Hey, Ian. Yeah, cool question, and sorry to disappoint on this one. Ian asks, can you fire off scripts while people interact with your page or layers, e.g. a Facebook pixel events on button clicks or the layer open? So not at the moment, but that's a pretty popular request that we get. That's definitely something we're looking into. Sue asks, I had a problem a few months back where when my user clicked on a submit button on the email opt-in, Chrome would ask if they really wanted to leave the page. Has this been fixed in the latest version? That's if your users are seeing that, then that will be a problem with the way the page was set up. That's not something that happens by default in Convertri. That's never been like a generic bug we've had. So if you do encounter that, ping the page to support@convertri.com, and we'll find out what's going on with that particular page. It's usually something to do with a form that's been imported not quite right, and we're happy to help you fix it. Bai asks, how do you add a subdomain in Convertri? So, excuse me a second. There are two parts to adding a subdomain. The first you need to do with whoever your domain registrar is. And we've got guides for a bunch of the most popular ones. And if you get stuck, again, do email support@convertri.com so we can help you. There is unfortunately a ton of ways to register a domain, and the setup is different for every single one of them. So it makes it quite hard for us to write generic guides. But on the Convertri side, all you need to do is under Add Site, you would type your subdomain. So if it was, if your domain was mydomain.com, you might have like offers, something like that in the box. That's literally all the setup there is on Convertri's side. The hard part is, hard. It's not particularly hard. It's just faffy because, as I say, it's different for every registrar. You need to point to the domain at Convertri. And we've got guides on how to do that, help.convertri.com. Cool question, David. David asks, can you have timed pop-ups, say 10 seconds after the page loads? Yep, absolutely. Excuse me while I load this back up again. And grab a swig of water while it loads. So in our action section, we can have a page trigger that happens after time. So we might say time is, for the sake of demo purposes here, I'm going to set it to 3 seconds. I probably don't want that on your actual page. And again, we will do a fade in of the pop-up. So that's page triggers, time, 3 seconds has passed, fade in the pop-up. So we will publish that. Refresh. And then, that's pretty much happened straight away because it's kind of counting from where the thing's at once. But you get the idea. So you can imagine setting that to something more like, say, 300 seconds. It'll happen after 5 minutes. So people leave it open. You can open the pop-ups and so on. Elizabeth asks, how do you make the corners of the panel rounded? Cool question. Instantly, guys, you'll notice that I say cool question a lot, and what I usually mean is I've got an easy answer. But please forgive me, I do like saying it. So under borders and border radius, set this to something like 10. You'll see this rounds off. Set it to more like 20. Oh, whoops, I've just done that for the main one. Come back to this panel. Set it to 20, something like that. Easy as that. So that's in borders and then border radius. Ian says, worth adding a set of common icons for use with like close back, etc. Yeah, absolutely. Icons is something I really want. Same as we've got like an image element. I really think we need an icon one that's either, I don't know what Font Awesome's like reuse policy is, but there's got to be some like Creative Commons icon sets, or we can get our designers to make some. I think that's a kind of a much needed one. Hey D, I've not heard of that, so I can't really comment on it. Alex asks, on what service CDN do you host the published Convertri pages? So when we launched 15 months ago, we used a service called Fastly, which was really good, but earlier this year, we discovered that they had a serious problem in that they couldn't provide SSL for us, or rather they could, but they wanted $275 per domain per month. And I'm pretty sure nobody here is going to pay that for their SSL, least of all not as like one feature of Convertri. So we built our own, so we can give it to you for free. So we have built our own one. It uses a combination of both Amazon Web Services and Google's cloud platform, with kind of the best of breed services from each, with a bunch of our own software kind of sat on top of it to provide both content delivery and SSL. Hey, Sue, yeah, I will do a Shopify. Oh, I don't know why support said it was a bug. I will have to ask them about that. Yeah, I will cover Shopify integration on a future webinar because I need to set up a demo. I don't have that ready today. Hey, Gerald. Sorry, please forgive my slightly allergy-addled brains today, but I'm not quite sure what you mean with your question. Do you mind clarifying a little bit, please? David asked for some allergy tablets. Yeah, I'm absolutely full of them today, but I would take some more. Presenting a webinar when you can only like breathe through your mouth is quite a challenge. Hey, John, don't worry about being late. It's good to have you here. Michael asks, how do you insert a YouTube video into a pop-up? So YouTube videos inserted exactly the same way as any other element. So if we edit our pop-up here, let's say you wanted a YouTube video here instead. You just drag the YouTube element on and dump it there, and then that is on the layer. That's all there is to it. Oh, I stand corrected. Sorry, Sue. Sue says, according to Convertri support, the problem I had with the Chrome pop-up asking if the user really wanted to leave the page was a conflict inside Convertri because I had the use exit message option turned on. I was instructed to turn the option off, and Convertri would fix this in a later update. Yeah, well, I'm sure everyone on this call is familiar with our policy now. We own our mistakes around here. I honestly didn't know that. I will find out what the deal is and give it a prod for you. Sorry. Yes, David. Good question, Bye. Sorry, I hope that's how you pronounce your name. Apologies, I'm terrible at knowing how to pronounce. I can barely pronounce English names, let alone foreign ones. That's a good question, though. So let's find out. Bye's asking if the video stops playing when the layer closes. And the truth is, I don't know. So let's find out. In fact, it seems to be unhappy about closing the pop-up when I've got the video on there. Oh, I see. Sorry, it's doing the whole exit intent thing. I could rewire it up. So the answer is, I think it stops playing, but I'm not sure. Deborah asks, do you drag a YouTube video element onto the page the same way as you just showed in the pop-up? Yep. So Convertri doesn't really care what an element is. So you drag anything you want. Basically, when there's no layer selected, you're editing the main page. When you've got a layer selected, you're editing that layer. In terms of what stuff is, Convertri doesn't really care. All of these elements work exactly the same way in terms of layout and layering. If you put them on a layer, they're on the layer. If you put them on the page, they're on the page. And which of these you use makes no difference to Convertri. The exit message option you used, Sue, will be in here under other, so use an exit message. This is, I should note, this is now a really badly supported feature in just about every browser. Only IE will show the message that you enter in this box. Every other browser will use its own default message that you can't override. So we provide this because a lot of people want to be able to set it, but honestly, it's not going to do as much good as it did a couple of years ago. You are better off leaving this box off and having an exit intent trigger like I showed earlier. So exit intent show pop up. That's where if they go like up off the browser like this, the pop up comes up. That's a lot more effective than trying to set that message. And just to be clear, that's a browser limitation. That's not a Convertri limitation. They won't let it. They won't let you set that. Hey, and that's really cool. Ian says, love the vibe you've created around Convertri in the community. So refreshingly open, honest, helpful, and straightforward. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a pretty simple guy. If I don't know the answer to something, I'm not going to bullshit you. I'll just tell you I don't know. And sometimes we break stuff. You may or may not have all seen in the group, I discovered that I've had an idiot switch turned on for nearly a year. We use Zendesk for our help desk. And we, in order to get mail in there, we forward it through our Gmail. So when you email support@convertri.com, it goes into Gmail, and that's forwarded on to Zendesk if it's to support@convertri.com. And in the filtering that does that, there is a checkbox that is literally a checkbox, and then if checked, this will never be spam filtered. And I didn't check it, so about 0.5%, so about one ticket in 200 was going into our spam box rather than through to Zendesk, and has been for an entire year. And I only discovered it very recently. And I know most people would just cover it up and be like, oh, no, it must be on the user's end. But that's not how we do things. When we mess things up and do idiot things, we're going to tell you. Yes, Deborah, we do use videos. We absolutely love the platform. They're our biggest referring affiliate as well. But it's just a really cool thing that works together. Hey, Alex. Yeah, great question. This is something we're working on at the moment. So Alex says, is it possible to have a few templates available? For example, the layers you created and used in this webinar. So that's kind of the next thing for templates that we're working on. At the moment, templates are either like they're a whole page or nothing. That's what you get. That works pretty well for squeeze pages, but there's two areas it works really badly in. One is sales pages, because you don't, with a squeeze page, you've kind of just got what's in the browser, one window, not a lot of sections, that's it. But on a sales page, you tend to have the same sections repeated, and you want a guarantee section, but you don't know where. You want a testimonial section, but you don't know how many, and you don't know where. So we want to provide page section templates, and we also want to provide layer templates. So that's the other section where kind of an all or nothing page thing. It's not too bad on a squeeze page, but you often find you want just like a generic pop-up to get running on a page really quickly, and you don't want to use one of the ones that has a pop-up already. So yes, really cool. Definitely something we want to do. David asks, can you change the font style on mobile for the pop-up? You can change. You can't change the font style. Sorry, complete answer. Yes, you can do what you like, because you can control what appears in the mobile browser. So, for example, if you wanted to change everything about this text box, then you could say that this text box doesn't appear on mobile, and then you create one that doesn't appear on desktop, does appear on mobile, and change everything about it. In terms of like quick support, the only thing you can change directly is the text scaling. So when we go into the mobile version, you'll see this text here is scaled to 70% of the size on desktop. Cool, you're welcome, Elizabeth. I'm glad you're excited. Hey, Robert. No, sorry. So only I can see the questions that are being asked. I try to read out, like kind of announce each question so you've got context for the answer. The fact that you've said what video suggests I haven't done that very well, but I also don't know what that was connected to. So if you can let me know what that was about, I'm happy to explain. I'm just not sure what you're talking about. Cool. Oh, thanks, Deborah. Deborah says, shows integrity, how you conduct your business. Love it. It's either integrity or stupidity. We're honestly not sure, but it's how we like to do it. Hey, Sue. Sue says, what's the best way to request approval to become an affiliate? I did a while back, but never heard back from anyone. Okay, so you need to either give us we need your affiliate ID, basically. And if you email it to support@convertri.com or post it in the Facebook group, anything like that, and we'll get you approved straight away. Our problem is that there are a ton of spam affiliate applications from like both bots and dodgy individuals on JVZoo. So we can't just auto approve people. We have to wait till we hear from you so we know you're a real person. But as soon as you do that, we can approve you. And yeah, page section templates would be amazing. I can't wait to introduce it. Yeah, certainly, Elizabeth. Elizabeth asks, can you explain what it means when you put an arrow between pages? How does this affect the funnel? So let us come out of the editor to look. So Convertri, unlike our competitors that have this very sort of linear funnel concept where everything's on rails, and as long as you want to do it exactly like they designed, you're fine. Convertri is a lot more flexible. So when you draw arrows, you're not setting anything to specifically guaranteed to happen. What you're setting is a default recommendation that you can then override. So this arrow here that points from the squeeze page we've been editing to the thank you page, that one, when we go back into the editor, and the smart man would have left it open, but never mind. When we look in forms and we look at this post-submission redirect, so that's something we really need to give another name. I'm just throwing it out there. But anyway, so this is what happens when the form is submitted. And this URL is in this box because there's an arrow drawn from that first page to the second one. So it will be used by default, that connection between the pages. But if you do want to send them somewhere else, you can send them wherever you like. This is what I was referring to earlier. By if you wanted to, you could publish all of your pages via the WordPress plugin and then override it in here if you wanted to. But you don't have to. So it kind of work by default. That's where that URL comes from because of that arrow. But if you want to do anything else, like send them to another funnel in your site, send them off to an entirely separate piece of software, Convertri doesn't care. It will let you do that. Deborah asks, how do you create the section pages? Sorry, I'm not 100% sure what you mean. Could you explain that one, please, Deborah? Yeah, okay, so Ian asks, and the ability to have a widget would be cool, so you change once and update everywhere. We're probably going to do a halfway house on this. So we may eventually get to just widgets that work that way. The starting point is going to be shared headers and footers, because that's the sort of 80-20 use case. It's the thing that happens most of the time and requires like the least work on our part. So that will let you share a header between, say, 5 pages on your site, that when you edit the header, it can then be updated in all of those places. And same for the footer. But what that won't let you do is have a widget that's in the middle of the page. Lydia asks, are there themes and plugins Convertri doesn't work with? It's WordPress, so almost certainly. We've been live 15 months. When we get bug reports, we fix them. And it's a pretty small plugin, so it doesn't have that many conflicts. But I should be clear, like, its WordPress conflicts are just like a factor of the ecosystem. I cannot guarantee you it's not going to conflict with stuff. What I can guarantee you is we care, and you should email us if you do find one. Lorraine asks, will we have a design studio to do mock-ups and 3D book covers, etc.? That's not something we're planning to support in Convertri. There's tons of tools out there that already do that, and also for really cheap. I can pretty much guarantee that's never going to happen in Convertri. Oh, I see. Thanks, Robert. So it's not a video-like hosting platform. It's called Vidyoze, Vidyoze, and it's creating things like logo stingers and short real-time ads, so that are sort of sub 30 seconds long. That's what we use for the Convertri. This thing you can see on your screen in front of you here was created with Vidyoze. John asks, is there any function of ClickFunnels that Convertri does not provide? So we don't have equivalents of a couple of the things in their $297 a month tier. So we don't have an built-in affiliate system, although that's something we're working on and we should have quite soon. and we don't have a built-in autoresponder. We only have third-party integrations. But I don't. That said, there must be something. Both platforms are huge. There's no way there's nothing else that they have that we don't. But I don't know off the top of my head, certainly. You're very welcome, Elizabeth. I'm glad that made sense. Oh, I see, Deborah. Cool. Okay, let me... sorry, so we're going to talk about how you create links to sections in a page. So we're going to our layers, open up the sticky header. So in this case, right, I'm going to do a very fake demo here. So you remember, this kind of sticky header is far more use on a sales page than on a squeeze page, because you tend to want these links to go to sections on a page, and that doesn't really make sense when there isn't a long page to work with. But I'm going to fake that for now. So we're going to come down here somewhere, shove a panel on the page, and shove some text on here that reads demo section 1. So this panel here, first of all, we need to give it a name. So we'll call this section 1. Then on our layer, the sticky header, we highlight the text and make a link. And then from internal link, this is a link to section 1. So when we save and publish that, so we're going to refresh. I'm also going to turn off that time trigger so it doesn't keep showing up. Oh, fine. I'm just going to cheat. Sorry, it's because of the X intent. I'm just going to kill the pop-up for now. Oh, that's still publishing. Patience, Andy, patience. Okay, so we've got our demo section down here. So now this link, section 1, will scroll us down to demo section 1. And if we really wanted, so again, remember, cool demo thing, if you hold down the Alt key, you can drag something and get a copy of all of it. So hold down the Alt and we get a complete copy. So you've got to imagine this is somewhere further down the page. This is demo section 2. And then exactly the same. So in our layer, section 2 is a link. Set the internal link to section 2. Save that and republish it. Publishing, publishing, publishing. So just refresh our page. So now you see we've got demo section 1 and demo section 2. So when I click on section 1, it'll scroll us to here. And when I click on section 2, it probably won't scroll that far, because it will basically put the top of the element at the top of the browser. So I can make the demo a bit more interesting if I just put something further down the page. So again, need to use your imaginations a bit. So you've got to imagine this is a longer sales page, and those sections actually do something. It's like our guarantee or whatever else. Oh, and I'm an idiot, and I put that onto our layer. Now, when we've put it onto the main page, it's publishing. So just refresh that. So you now see we've got this page, section 1, section 2, and just, again, something to make the page look longer. So we click on section 1 and it scrolls, section 2 and it scrolls, etc. So quick review, the key parts of that. click on the element you want at the top of the screen when they click on the link, and under element properties, give it a name. And then in the text link, make it an internal link to the name that you just gave it, and hit publish. Ah, Jeff, that's a good suggestion. Sorry, Jeff says, suggestion, can you use something to surround and highlight your cursor, as it's really hard to see what you're doing in a demonstration? I'll look into, I don't actually know the answer to that, but I presume there must be something. I'll see what I can do about that. Cheers, Jeff, that's a really cool suggestion. David asks, is it best to set up the form first, then drag the email and submit buttons onto the page afterwards? It doesn't really matter what order you do it in. What matters is, whoops, don't click the wrong button in GoToWebinar. That's very important. The main thing that matters, if we go here, I'm just going to shove a form element text input back on the page to demonstrate. The main thing that matters in element properties under form field settings is you must tell Convertri what type of field this is. So in this case, it's an email box. And then that's how it knows how to make the connection between the things on the page and what it's being submitted to, is by telling us what type it is. Hey, Sue's asking, I think the sort of static header you're talking about, Sue, is this sticky header that I've created on this page. So by making it a layer, this section sticks to the top, like so, to make it more websitey, if that's what you're trying to achieve. Seller asks, are there any other payment gateways other than Stripe? So there's none directly built into our shopping cart yet, although we're working on adding PayPal. But you can, it's really easy to get buy links and all kinds of other things onto Convertri pages. For example, we sell with PayPal buy links all the time. So there's certainly not hard to do, but then they're not directly integrated into the product system in Convertri. Michael asks, what's happening in the code when a page changes to mobile? So we use a variation on the kind of typical responsive stuff you've seen. So it's using media queries, which tell it basically if it's bigger than this or smaller than this to decide which options of the CSS to use to display stuff. But because of the absolute positioning we use, you can produce this free-form, like mobile-specific version rather than just a responsive one that you have less control over. Jose, sorry, again, terrible at pronunciation, I do apologize, says he has a standard subscription, but would like to know what's in Pro and Agency. So in the Pro option, we have access to Template Club, which is another couple of hundred templates that we add more to every week. I think technically the promise is 10 more a month, but we do it at a rate of 3 per week because we update every Tuesday and we add 3 more every Tuesday. It gives you team members. So if you want to create logins for like your VA or your designer to access your Convertri account, that's through the Pro account. It has advanced integrations, so things like Active Campaign as an API is in the Pro. And I think there's one more thing, but I always forget it when I'm doing this list. Then the agency subscription is everything that's in Pro, and you get access to sub-accounts. So if you have clients, you can create their stuff in an entirely separate account. It has all of its own integrations. So you can have their Stripe account while having your Stripe account in the main account. And that you can optionally let them edit their pages if you want. Dennis asks, can you build a whole site in Convertri and then when done and approved, only then point a custom domain to it? So sort of. You can build out, you could build the site out, build the funnel out under a Convertri subdomain, So you might use like dennis.convertri.com to build it all up. And then having done that, when you point the custom domain across, you can then clone it into that. In fact, I will show you. So any funnel has a clone option. So if you were to clone a funnel, you can then, so clone and then move to. So clone will produce a copy of it. Move to will then let you put it into another domain, which would be the custom domain you've then pointed. The only time-consuming step is you then will need to go through and hit publish on every page from the funnel you've cloned. But all of the settings and wirings will be there. Cool question, Eric. Eric asks, does Convertri work with all live chat services, specifically ConvertFox? So yes, everyone that we've tested, but I haven't tested ConvertFox yet. So there's absolutely no technical reason it wouldn't work, but I haven't seen it working. So if you I haven't got a copy of ConvertFox. If you do, give it a go. And if it doesn't work, let us know, support@convertri.com, so we can make it work. I think David's asked the question of the afternoon. He says, is Jamie from videos better looking than Andy Fletcher? And the answer is absolutely, definitely. All of the videos guys are. If nothing else, they all have better beards than me. Lydia asks, when I've added a Convertri page to my blog using the plugin, does it upload at the same speed? So mostly as long as you have decent hosting. So it's important to note that we still serve the bulk of the page. What the plugin is doing is creating what's called an iframe to point the browser somewhere else, to say we actually want to show content from over here. So most of the optimization we do will apply, but if you install the plugin on a WordPress blog that is on terrible hosting, then that's beyond our control, and yeah, it's going to load much slower. So Deborah asks, is there a way to create separate pages rather than a scrolling page? You absolutely can create separate pages, but I don't recommend it. You will get much better results with single page sites that have a very specific purpose. If what you want to create is like a sort of brochure style site, you can totally do that with Convertri, but your results won't be as good as if you create a single page site with sections. As for example, oh, sorry. So this is, my girlfriend is a UI UX designer in London. You'll have to ignore the slightly slow loading nature of the page, because being a designer, she's opted for better looking visuals. She's turned off a lot of the optimization, but you'll see this is her portfolio site, but everything on the page is a single page with links to sections. And she moved to this from a WordPress blog. So you see when you click portfolio, it scrolls within the page. And when you open up one of these, it opens up a layer with the details on, etc., etc. And she moved to this from a WordPress kind of more brochure style site, and gets much better results from doing so. So yes, you can totally create separate pages if you want to, but it's not what we recommend. Yep, Richard asks, when you link the sections, they became underlined in the header. Can this be removed? Yep, so it's still just text. We shove an underline on it automatically when you create a link, because most people want their links underlined, but it's still just text. So if you highlight the text and toggle underline, it's no longer underlined. Cool, techie question, Ian. Ian asks, can I set additional data into your merge tag for a form without needing a visible field? So not at the moment. This is something we're upgrading our form system with at the moment. You can you can hack that around with the kind of classic HTML form style. But the API ones we're upgrading to support that. And yeah, so Ian also asks, can I set different form fields on different layers and submit them all of them at the end? Yes, as long as you are using an API integration, not just a classic HTML form. So with the API integration, put any form field anywhere on the page, anywhere in the layer, and as long as you've got a submit button, Convertri's smart enough to piece it all together and submit all the data from wherever it is, from multiple layers, multiple steps, and so on, all in one go at the end. Tim asks, can the shopping cart be configured to accept Bitcoin as an alternative payment? Not through the Convertri system, but I'm sure you could get like anything that produces a buy link, you can get onto a Convertri page, but our shopping cart itself doesn't support that. Gerald asks, what about a tablet view as well? So we do specific versions of desktop and mobile, and then you pick which of those to show on tablet. We don't consider it worth doing. Like tablet traffic is just like the worst of all traffic because it's not mobile and it's also not desktop, and it's tiny, certainly at the moment. Optimize your desktop, optimize your mobile, and just show something to tablets. It's really not worth making a separate version for. Yep. So Deborah's asked, do the tutorials explain more detail about cloning and moving funnels? Yeah, absolutely. It's in. You should find enough in help.convertri.com, and if you don't, do ping us an email, support@convertri.com, and we're happy to give you a hand if you get stuck with that. Cool question, Lydia. So Lydia asks, do panels slow down a Convertri page, for example, if I have numerous videos and buttons that I place on panels? So panels, layers, pop-ups, all of those won't slow Convertri down at all. What will, in inverted commas, slow us down is YouTube videos, but they don't actually slow the page down. They just make us score worse with GTmetrix' system. So if you put a bunch of YouTube videos on a page, go by like you're like looking at the browser and hitting refresh. Don't use GTmetrix to measure how quick it is because it will tell you it's really slow when it's not. But certainly layers and pop-ups and panels won't slow it down at all. Jamie asks, does the Convertri plugin have all the exact same functionalities as using your platform? Yes, it does, because very little is actually being done on WordPress. It's not like you're then building these pages in WordPress. You're still building everything in Convertri. You're publishing everything to Convertri servers. All you're doing with the plugin is creating a very, very thin layer in the WordPress, which then says, so here, for example, where we've published this page to this URL on WordPress, all it's doing when this URL is loaded, it creates an iframe that points at this URL. So everything else happens on our servers. So you still get everything else. Hey, Eric. Yeah, cool question. It says, do you have a list of website designers that's experienced with working in Convertri? I don't have a specific list, but if you join the Facebook group, which if you give us 2 seconds, I will just grab a link for. He says, being careful not to open Facebook live. God knows what rubbish will be on there. So I will send this out to all. So that's our Facebook group. We offer Convertri design services. We can certainly help you ourselves, but there's loads of people in the Facebook group able to help you out. Some of them will do some of the sort of techie support stuff just because they love Convertri. Certainly if you're looking for somebody to do design work, I'm pretty sure they're going to charge you money for it, obviously. Cool to everyone. Like, I think I see we just passed the hour mark. So to everyone that's heading off at this point, thank you for coming. But for everyone else that's still asking questions, I'm hanging around. Interesting question, Lydia. Lydia says, why do the hyperlinks not turn the pointer into a hand? And my answer is it must be something about your specific page, because generally they do. So if you look at, I'm mouse overing section 1, you'll see it's turned into the hand for me. So if that's not happening for you, then email support@convertri.com so we can find out why. Christ asks, what's the time plan for integrating PayPal? We don't offer like specific timelines and estimates on when stuff's going to be available. We talk about what we're working on at any given time. In our experience, like making specific estimates just ends up disappointing people if we miss them. We can only like meet expectations. And technology is hard. So we'll tell you what we're working on. We'll tell you things that we like have no plans to ever tackle, but we don't offer like specific, this is going to be available at this time, because the truth is we don't know. Technology is really hard. Eric asks, does it display EPC somewhere? It doesn't display that figure as yet. It will show you, it will only show you like revenue during a time period and clicks during a time period. It doesn't do the division for you. Jamie asks, if we already have a WordPress site with contents, can we just install the Convertri plugin and add funnels on top of the WordPress site? Yes, you absolutely can, but I would recommend, like, our recommendation is not to use the plugin. The plugin is there purely as a convenience because, like, everyone thinks that's how it needs to be done. But if you're, like, I don't know what your domain is, so let's just say the domain is jamieisawesome.com. So at the moment, let's say you've got your WordPress site on www.jamieisawesome.com. You can, if you want, install the plugin, build, like you might have jamieisawesome.convertri.com, where you publish your pages on Convertri, and then you set up your blog using the plugin to point at those pages. But you'll get much better results, much easier, if you set up something like offers.jamieisawesome.com, and then just point that subdomain at us. It'll slightly change what's in the address bar and make all of the techie config stuff you have to do up front so much easier. And fair warning right now, I know just about everyone on the call is going, oh, I didn't follow that. Nobody follows that. We've written a PDF guide to explain the options. And if you need it, I think it's available in the Facebook group and on help.convertri.com. And if you can't find it, ping us an email to support@convertri.com and we'll send you the guide that kind of walks you through the various options and why you'd pick one over the other. Deborah asks, since we're hosting on Architect Labs and domains are pointed in that direction, does our website miss the traffic metrics? Sorry, I don't know what you mean. Can you elaborate, please, Deborah? Yeah, thanks, Ian. Ian says the www.littledidsheknow.co.uk is really nice, and the PDFs download's great. Yeah, my girlfriend Sarah spent a ton of time working on that, including the photos are actually from a custom photo shoot she arranged. All of the case studies are like from her past work. She's but that's what she gets. She's incredibly highly paid consultant in London. So her website and pages have to reflect that. Oh, John, I'm sorry. John says, can you go over how the user integration works with Convertri? I promised people I would do that on Thursday, but I haven't sourced. I've got the API keys; they're just not wired up. I'll publish something about that in the group to show you. At the end of the day, it's copying an API key like into Convertri, and then like you get an element so you can import your user and stuff. Sorry, I completely forgot to set that demo up, so I can't do it now. Sorry. Hey, Michael, I don't have the specific link to Thursday's webinar, but if you go to help.convertri.com, there's a list of past Q&A webinars, and Thursday's is on there. Oh, right. Sorry, guys. My throat's starting to go. 2 seconds. Right, let's continue. Okay, Clement says, how do you add a video as a background on the website? And what should be the best size to work perfectly with Convertri? So we don't host videos. It's one of the only things we don't host for you, because videos are just incredibly bandwidth intensive, and it's one of those things that it's pretty cheap for the individual to do for themselves, but in aggregate across everyone will be really expensive for us, and we don't want to have to put the prices up to reflect that. So you need to put your MP4 video file somewhere on the web that's accessible. Personally, I recommend AmazonS3.com because it's pretty easy to set up and incredibly cheap, but there's a ton of options. And then, having done so, do I still have this open? You would drag a video element onto the page. So then you're setting in here the video source, so that's telling it where that MP4 video is. And then this box will play that video automatically. What it won't have is a player. If you want a player, you will either need to use YouTube or upload it somewhere else and use our custom HTML element. In terms of sizing, you typically want, most browsers are set to be about 1280 pixels wide. Some will be a bit bigger, some will be a bit smaller, but if you make the width of the video at least 1280, and then the height this is where we get a bit technical, the height will need to be relative to how big or small you make this. So if you did like a sort of very pillboxy one, the video would need to be a different size to if you made it really big. You will need to experiment a bit to get it right. Alice asks, can Convertri work with Squarespace if that's where my website is hosted? Yeah, absolutely. So the absolute easiest way to do it is, let's assume your domain is alice.com, and that's pointed at Squarespace. You would set up something like offers.alice.com or special.alice.com and then point that to Convertri, and then that's where you'd host your funnels. Yes. Okay. So Deborah says, does the website not miscalculating website traffic for SEO purposes since the traffic is going to Convertri? So, I do apologise, guys. My allergies are ruining me. So if you are using the WordPress plugin, don't try and SEO your pages. Pages in iframes are terrible to rank. If you want them to rank, set up something like special.yourdomain.com or offers.yourdomain.com, point that at Convertri, then they'll rank super well because Convertri loads fast. The free SSL helps, but the iframe pages are a really bad idea for SEO purposes. Jamie asks, what payment system is Convertri using and how soon after payments transfer to us after customers make payment? So we integrate currently just with Stripe, and that's entirely, like, the payments to you are entirely down to your arrangement with Stripe, which is typically a rolling 7 days. But like that's entirely Stripe. That's nothing to do with us. Yeah, Ian's having a look at. Let me just open it back up again. So the portfolio section layers work really well. So this is a great example of building additional content into a page while having it still a single page. So everything's on one page. So there's no reloading. Everything happens really fast. And it just gives such a better user experience than having people wander around and keep reloading pages. Yo's asked, can I use my domain name to any funnel I make inside Convertri? For example, mydomain.com/funnel. So you point your domain to Convertri, and then you can control whatever the hell you want the URLs to look like after that. Jamie asks, if we use the Convertri plugin on our WordPress site, are all the pages built with the plugin on our hosting server? If not, is there any benefit to using the plugin instead of your platform? So all the plugin is doing is creating what's called an iframe, which says when this URL is loaded, actually load this content from over here. So basically nothing is happening on your WordPress blog itself. Everything is hosted by us, except that one initial instruction to the browser to display something that's on another page rather than the one they've actually directly gone to. So in the example of our Convertri one, so this URL here is set up to display this URL here. So you see this is exactly the same page. So when I update it and publish something on this URL, it changes what's displayed here because literally all the blog is doing is pointing over to somewhere else. So very little is happening on the WordPress layer. Hey, Dan, yeah, sure, no problem. So Dan's asking basically how to do these bits where it scrolls. So excuse me a second, I'll just open the editor back up. So we have our layer for these ones. So we've got our sections further down the page. So you click on, So the first thing is to name the thing you want to appear at the top of the browser. So this is section 1. So this is the equivalent of the case study section here, as for example. So under general properties, you need to make sure the section has a name. And then when you open up layers and create a link, you set an internal link to whatever name you gave that section. And then that's literally all there is to it. The link is then, when you click on it, it will scroll to that. So give the section a name. And then in the text link, create an internal link to that section name. And Convertri does the rest for you. Oh, cheers, Alex. Alex says, thank you so much for your dedication and generosity. No worries. It comes with free allergies today. D says, with agency, is it white label or do clients know you're using Convertri? It's not white label at all. It's they see very similar to what you see. It's not designed for you to resell Convertri. It's designed for you to provide a service to your clients. So it's all Convertri branded still. It's basically like them having a Convertri account. Oh, thanks, Jamie. I do apologise. So earlier I said I wasn't sure if there was anything else ClickFunnels have that we don't. Jamie's just asked about membership sites. They do, like the membership sites they have are really basic, but they do have that, and we don't. What we have is integrations with other services that make membership sites. So I wouldn't recommend using you don't really need to use the plugin for this. But we have integrations with things like Product Dino and Everlesson and so on, which will let you build a membership area and then build a sales page in Convertri, wire up the product system to actually make the sale, and then use our webhook system to notify Product Dino, Everlesson, whatever it is you're using, to create an account on there for them because they bought it. Jay says, I heard you saying that using the Convertri WordPress extension is not good for SEO. Could you please clarify when we should or should not use the WordPress extension? So being totally honest, you should never use the WordPress plugin. We've built it because people insist on doing it, despite the fact I constantly say it's a bad idea. And, you know, if our customers want something, we don't know best. Like, you guys know what you want to achieve. But if you're following my advice, don't use the WordPress plugin. So if your domain is j.com and you've got your WordPress blog there, set up something like specials.j.com, offers.j.com, and then point that at Convertri. And then you don't have to faff with the plugin. Everything just publishes straight on Convertri. There's no second step. They will SEO fine. There's absolutely no reason to use the plugin other than the fact that, like, if you know better about what you want to do, go ahead, we'll support you, we'll help you. That's what the plugin's for. But it's not the best idea. My advice is never use it. Deborah says, thanks so much for these webinars. I hope you recover quickly from your allergies. Yeah, I'll be fine. I have no idea what kicks them off. They're truly irritating, but I've mostly learned to ignore them. It's just a bit annoying for people. I'm sure you can hear I'm a bit nasally, and there's been the odd cough and sneeze today. So I hope I haven't grossed you guys out too much. Eric says, really love layers and triggers. They give unlimited possibilities. Yeah, absolutely. This is one of I would say the big differences between Convertri and our competitors. Our competitors have things like, here's the two-step opt-in widget. And as long as you want a two-step opt-in that behaves exactly the way they've designed it, you're fine. The moment you want to do anything else, you can't do it. Whereas with Convertri, you have so much more flexibility. You're very welcome, Gerald. Gerald says, thanks for the webinar. You are very welcome. I love doing these. I say this on just about every webinar, so forgive me if you've been on a few of these and you're a bit bored of hearing it. But I've worked on Convertri for 2 years solid. I have had about 4 days, maybe a week's worth of days off, and that includes weekends since I started this project. I have my first week off planned starting, it's either the 20th or the 21st of this month, and I can't wait. But other than that, I love it. This is what I get up in the morning and I want to work on this, and I go to bed at night and I put things in my notebook, and I wake up in the middle of the night and jot in my notebook. This is what I love working on. I think it's amazing, and the fact that you guys come out to listen to what I have to say and learn more about the product just makes me really happy. So I figure the least I can do is answer some questions. Honestly, all the questions I get just make me happier. I think this is really cool. Elizabeth says avoid sugar and flour. That will definitely help your allergies. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Lots of people have told me this, but I think I love sugar and flour more than I hate my allergies. But thanks for the recommendation. In regards to the previous question, if agency is white label, so no, agency is not white label. Everything is Convertri branded. It is designed for you to provide Convertri stuff to your clients. They will know it's Convertri. You should be providing it, you should be doing stuff for your clients as well. This is not just let's resell Convertri for a profit. If you want to do that, be an affiliate. If you don't want them to know that you're using Convertri, you can build everything for them, but what you can't do is give them a login. So if you want them to be able to edit the pages, they will be logging into Convertri. But if you want to just build Convertri pages for them and then publish them, they won't know it's on Convertri. I mean, I guess they could do a view source, but what client knows how to do that? Deborah says, so when we use offer.whateverdomain.com and directs to Convertri, just that page, not the whole website, is hosted on Convertri. Okay, so subdomains, which is that the bit in front of domain.com. So if your domain is mydomain.com, then offer is the subdomain. So when you point offer.mydomain.com, that subdomain is entirely hosted on Convertri, but anything that's on www.mydomain.com, you can point anywhere else you like. And we've got details in the guides on how to do that. It's if you don't know how the DNS domain name system works, and if you don't have a computer science degree like me, you probably don't. This is not required reading. It's a faff. It's hard. It's annoying. this is technology that was designed and built in the 60s and hasn't really changed since then. So that initial step can be a pain to set up, but we are here to help you with it. But in answer to the question, yep. So when you set up offers.mydomain.com, just that subdomain is pointed to us, and it doesn't affect www.mydomain.com at all. Yeah, cool. Sorry, I should read out loud rather than reading to myself. Sue says, so if I create a landing page to send traffic to my Shopify store, I go into GoDaddy and create a subdomain that might be offers.mystore.com. Then my page address might be offers.mystore.com/dogbed or offers.mystore.com/capsocks. Is that correct? Yep, that's absolutely right. That will work fine. And that is our recommended way of doing it. Or sorry, we have two kind of recommended ways to do it. That one, or you might prefer to host your main site, www.whateveryourdomain.com on Convertri, and then have blog.yourdomain.com be your blog. That's how we do it. The difference is purely one of whether your landing page funnels are the main site and your blog is supporting, or whether your main site is the blog and your landing pages are where you send them off to. So in our case, our blog is kind of updates only. It's not a primary piece of real estate, so we publish our marketing funnels on the main site. But it works either way around. There is no difference in terms of SEO. It's purely a conceptual one. Yeah, no worries, Deborah. Subdomains are awkward to understand. They're not kind of everyday web usage. They are. Like you make use of subdomains every day on the web. You just don't know it, which makes that initial step really annoying when you encounter it and you actually have to set one up for yourself, because it's one of those things that once it's set up, you will never look at this again. But doing the setup in the first place is a bit like, what is thing? How do I subdomain? So no, absolutely no worries. That's what support's for. Ian says, does a one-page site equals high? Does a one-page site give you a high bounce rate issue? It depends more what you put on the page. So anyone measuring bounce rate for like any useful purpose, like nobody's sure if Google are paying attention to bounce rate as a factor for SEO. They probably don't, because it's too easily gamed, but they might be. It will depend a lot more on what's on the page rather than like it being one page or not. So in the case of like Sarah's site, littledidsheknow.co.uk, there's a lot to the page, so people spend a long time on there, or they don't. Like if they're not interested, they leave. But that's true of any page. But like if all you do is put 7 words on the page and there's nothing for them to do and they can't opt in anywhere, yeah, you're probably going to get a high bounce rate. But that's more about what you put on the page rather than whether it's one page or multiple pages. Bounce rate as a concept of like, do they look at a second page, stopped being a thing when people started figuring out one-page sites. So I really wouldn't worry about it. Ha! Awesome. Yes. Sue says www is a subdomain, but no one realizes that. It's absolutely true. And explaining that's been really hard for us. But yeah, so the way we recommend people set it up, and again, don't try and learn this now. Worry about understanding it when you're working with support to get set up. But what we recommend you do is you have like mydomain.com. That then redirects to www.mydomain.com, and then you publish on www.mydomain.com. That's the recommended way to set this stuff up. Jay says he likes the idea of the main site on Convertri and blog.mainsite.com on WordPress for the blog only. So if the main site is Convertri, I understand the site on Convertri will have the funnels, meaning multiple pages. Is that correct, as links from the main page will take to different pages in the funnel? Yep, that's correct. So in terms of where stuff gets linked to, that's entirely up to you. So you can put a bunch of pages, a bunch of links at the top of the page that link to other pages, or you can just have a single, using Sarah's as the example, you can just have a single page site with nothing except the opt-in to get the case study at the bottom. That's up to you, whatever you want to do with it. I see. Sorry, Ian's just put few in the chat box, and I was wondering what that was related to. But yeah, bounce rate issues. Got it. Sorry. Just so you guys know, in the question and answer box on GoToWebinar, it doesn't connect up. Like every message you type comes up as an entirely separate question. It's not uncommon. I do this myself. Like when you type and like you kind of get halfway through a thought and hit enter, and then you finish the thought and hit enter again. GoToWebinar separates that, and so I don't see what things are connected to, especially if there's a few minutes between them. So it often leads me to going like, probably, but I don't know. Yeah, absolutely, Deborah. So basically, once you've learned how to do the setup, it will be exactly the same setup for every client. It's kind of once you know how to do it, subdomain setups are stupidly simple. They're only hard because you've not done it before, and every registrar is different. But once we know who your registrar is, we can show you how to do it really easily. Cool. Jamie's asking about upgrading to Pro and what upgrades will cost after 1 year. So a lot of people have recently bought into 297 for a year's worth of standard access. That was our initial customer offer recently. So that offer is now closed. So if you want to upgrade to Pro, it is $69 a month. In the interest of full disclosure, we do run regular offers, so I probably wouldn't pay that if I were you. There is likely to be an offer to upgrade for $37 a month. In a year's time, after that 1 year's access has expired, the regular to keep your standard access will be $37 a month, and upgrading to Pro will cost the same, as I just said, $69 a month. Although, as noted, there may well be a deal. There will be a deal between now and then. Yep, absolutely. Jay's asked, was this little did she know.co.uk made in Convertri? Yep, absolutely. Everything you see here was built in Convertri. There are no cheats on this page at all. There are no cheats at all, but Sarah is a designer and has done a bunch of work on the imagery in Photoshop, which she's then uploaded and messed with the optimization settings because she's a design nerd. But everything you are looking at here, you could build in Convertri. There's no cheats, there's no custom code, there's no extra stuff. Yep, absolutely. Deborah's asked if we send emails about deals and stuff. Yep, we stay in regular contact. We let you guys know exactly what we're up to, what deals are running, and so on. As you probably noticed by now, we're pretty open about everything. There's not a lot of backdoor stuff going on. It's just, hey, we're running a deal at the moment. You should sign up. It's cool. That's how we do marketing. Cool. We seem to be drying up on questions now, which is probably a good thing after an hour and 40 minutes on a Sunday. If you have got any more questions, I'll hang around for a few more minutes just to give you time to type them in. Oh, here we go. And of course, some more. George says, if I point my domain to Convertri, does ViewSource show my subdomain? So it depends how you set it up. So if you're doing if your domain is hosted by Convertri, then your domain is what appears in the browser. If you use the WordPress plugin, then the subdomain on Convertri that you're like masking will appear in the source. Jay asks, how do you pop up X to close? If you don't mind, Jay, I covered that earlier in the webinar, so it will be in the replay. And my throat's starting to get properly destroyed now from talking for so long. So I do apologise. If you don't mind, I'm going to refer you to the replay to see how to do that. There is also a guide on help.convertri.com. Apologies for not redoing the demo. But yeah, it's been an hour and 40 minutes now. My throat's starting to go. Sorry. Oh, no, Novi says, I'm going back to bed. It's 3:40 a.m. here in Australia. Thank you so much for getting up and coming along to the webinar. Novi, that is so cool that you wanted to do that. That's awesome. Michael asks, multiple SEO terms can be on one page as individual term pages. Oh, right. Okay. So, no. So if your goal is SEO, you do want to publish like a page for each term that you're targeting. Don't try and create a single page that you stuff everything onto. That's where you don't want a single page site. And like, you totally can do it with Convertri. I would recommend you, like, if you're going after like lots of pages to target like SEO for long tail keywords, so you want like lots of article content spread across lots of pages, you're going to make your life easier by doing that bit on WordPress and then directing that traffic to your Convertri funnels. You can totally build it in Convertri. It just won't be as easy as if you use WordPress for it. You're very welcome, Novi. He says, thanks, appreciate the time and effort. Hey, you're the one that got up at 2 a.m. to watch, to come and listen to me talk. That's cool. Ian asks, for Convertri-only sites, what do you do about running email if there's no cPanel? Yeah, so we use and recommend G Suite or Google Apps or whatever it's called at the moment. It costs you like $3 to $5 per account per month. It's a nothing amount of money, and you get like so much out of Google. Cheers, Jay. Wishing me well with my allergies. Thanks, I appreciate it. No worries. She's saying she's looking forward to more training. Absolutely, we will. So there's new guides go up on help.convertri.com all the time. I'm not sure I'm going to have time to do another. So as I said, I've got my first holiday in 2 years. Literally, I've barely taken a day off in 2 years. So I've got my first week off booked for it's the week after next. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to fit another one of these in before that, but we do like semi-regular ones of these, and they will resume as soon as I'm back. JP asks, what payment options are there? Sorry, JP, are you asking payment options for like how can I buy Convertri, or payment options for how can I take my customers' money because I'm selling through Convertri? Cheers, John. But my name's Andy, not Jay. Just so you know. Yeah. Yeah, so Jim's asking, is the template for selling Convertri websites ready yet? Yep, so if you've got an agency account, then when you go to create a new page, scroll down a little bit and there's a section titled Agency Templates. It's on there. Right, JP says, on the website, Stripe only. So there's certainly no bugs in the like Stripe payment checkout system that I know of. So yeah, so payment processors we directly support are Stripe. We're adding PayPal at the moment, but if you want to get like PayPal buy links on the page, or JVZoo ones, or Zaxa ones, or if you wanted to embed like Thrivecart on our pages, any of those options work really well as well. Cheers. So yeah, I'm stuffed full of allergy pills. No worries there. No worries, John. I never know whether to correct people on that. I always feel like such a dick when I do it. It's like, that's not my name, damn it. Hey, Lydia. Sure. So Lydia asks, can you list the membership options supported? So just to be very clear on this, what we're doing, is we're working through a bunch of them to make sure that sorry, let me start again. On Tuesday, we are rolling out tighter integration options, so much better webhooks that support loads of extra things. And then we're going to be working through each of the membership options that we know are out there, working with their dev team. Like, we've got great contacts with loads of them, making sure that we're tightly integrated. The first one that we're working with is Product Dino. I know the guys there really well. We love what they're doing over there, and we're probably putting together like a special offer package for Convertri users. We're working with them, so there should be details about that next week. Everlesson will follow quickly after that, because we know those guys really well, and then from there we will work through the others. So if there's a particular thing you'd like to make sure gets integrated, do drop us a note to support@convertri.com so we have an idea of what people are using. I mean, end of the day, we are publishing our webhooks in a really industry standard format, so most stuff should work pretty well, like directly, but it's technology. Sod's Law says it probably won't. Hey, Cal, yeah, absolutely. We record all of these. So it's Sunday now. So hopefully Monday, tomorrow, if not Tuesday, this will be available on help.convertri.com. Christ asked, when will you add PayPal? We don't do, we're working on it at the moment, but we never make specific estimates on when stuff's going to roll out, because the truth is we don't know. What most companies do is they announce stuff when it's basically already finished, and then they say, like, in a month we're going to release this thing. We don't hold anything back. As soon as something's ready, we roll it out. That's how we're able to release cool new stuff every Tuesday. But what that means is we don't know when stuff's going to be ready, so we're not going to hold on to it for weeks so we can do a big marketing thing around it. We'll give it to you as soon as it's ready, but we can't tell you when that's going to be. JP asks, which email autoresponder is best to integrate with, please? So we use MailChimp and SendLane. MailChimp has slightly better, so they both integrate really well with Convertri. MailChimp has a bit better deliverability, but you're limited in what email you can send. So they don't like affiliate stuff at all. If you send a single affiliate link through MailChimp and they see it, they will ban your account. So we use that for all of our internal marketing, like the happiness emails you guys get, the updates and so on. SendLane's deliverability isn't quite as good, but they're affiliate link happy. They're far more marketing aware than MailChimp, so they're happier for you to do more stuff. Both integrate super well. The APIs are in the standard version of Convertri. Either will work great. Just pick one based on your marketing needs. You're welcome, Deborah. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah, I gather ConvertFox. Are they on AppSumo at the moment? I think I saw that there, and that's why I'm seeing the name ConvertFox all over the place. I'm I'm a little bit skeptical about their deal. I really hope they can make good on it, but like a lifetime deal on an autoresponder for up to 15,000 emails a month for $49 one time, I'm a little bit concerned they can't make good on that. I really hope I'm wrong. Cheers, Michael. You're very welcome. Very welcome for the help. And I'm gonna. So I'm going down to visit my parents in Devon because I haven't seen them in a couple of months. So I'm going to hang out with them for a few days, and then the rest of the week is going to be spent building my Lego Millennium Falcon. What a lot of you probably don't know about me is I'm a giant Lego nerd. I have some of the biggest sets they've ever built, and I've wanted one of the Millennium Falcons for absolutely ages. But they were only available on the aftermarket for like $2,000, and I'm not that much of a Lego nerd. But they recently re-released it as like a 10th anniversary edition. So my name was on the pre-order list on the first day, and it's currently sat in my office staring me down. But I've been so busy building Convertri, I haven't had time to build it yet. But on my week off, that's what I'm going to be doing. It's going to be amazing. So all being well, expect some nerd photos in the group when I'm back. Cool. Yeah. Hey, Lydia. So Lydia says, originally my support request went to spam, I think, because I wasn't getting any response. How long should I wait if that happens again. So two parts to that. One, it shouldn't happen again because I mentioned earlier on the webinar, I found the idiot checkbox that I was supposed to tick. There is literally in the filter settings for how we send email to Zendesk, there is a checkbox that says never mark these emails as spam, and I didn't check it because I'm an idiot. It's checked now, so in theory, like that spam list thing just shouldn't happen again. However, that said, when you send an email to support@convertri.com, you should get an email pretty much straight back within a few minutes, which is just our auto response message saying, it's links to the FAQ page, it outlines like how busy we are at any given time, details like that. If you don't get that within 5 minutes, okay, maybe like 10, 15, sometimes emails slow, but like if you don't get that really promptly, definitely come into the Facebook group and let us know. Because if you don't get that, it means either we never got your email or you're not getting our email. And either way, you're definitely not going to get a response out of the support team. So, as I say, don't stand on ceremony. If you haven't had that auto response message, we need to know about it. Yeah, Garfield mentions there's a one-time pay autoresponder. I'm pretty sure that's ConvertFox that you're talking about. And as I say, like they've taken the deal down early, which is never a good sign. So hopefully they sold loads of copies out of it, and they're going to be able to make good on it. But an autoresponder is definitely not something they should be selling for a one-time fee. So I really hope they know what they're doing. Awesome. Cheers, C. Thank you for coming on. Awesome. That's really cool to hear, Lydia. Lydia says, I've been trying Convertri and absolutely love it. I'm really glad. Shelley asks, can we create a horizontal line for lining up content? So it depends. So yes, definitely. It depends what you want to do for like how best to achieve it. So Convertri will automatically snap elements to other elements. So let's say we've got a little bit of imagination here. So, I'm working on a layer again every time. So let's say we've got panel 1 and then we put panel 2 onto the page. Convertri will automatically generate these snap lines to make it super easy to line up against other elements. So you'll see this automatically makes the content align like that. And if you need to briefly turn it off, you can turn off snap to elements, and then it will stop generating the snap lines. It will only do the edge cases, but it won't snap to the other elements. But with that turn on, which is the default, it will line up. So you rarely actually need to create horizontal lines. If you're just talking about like a kind of a visual effect, then in separators you need a horizontal line. They look quite cool. I like using them in my designs. Thanks, Steve. Who says, Andy, you've been going like a troop. You should feel free to close the training. You deserve a break. That's cool. I'm happy to. Well, okay. My policy on all of these things is basically one of two things happens. Either everyone's asked all the questions they wanted to ask, or my throat's dead. At the point my throat dies, I will absolutely close this training. And as much as I love you all, I will be done. But all the time I'm feeling fine. I'm happy to keep answering questions. Shelley says, when they're not next to each other, they don't snap. They certainly do by default. So if we put, let's make them a bunch smaller. So we've got panel here, and then we're going to have panel over here. You'll see. So watch this pink line. Doesn't matter where I put it. And similarly, I can start dragging it over here, and that snap will generate. So if that's not happening, you've probably got snap to elements turned off. JP asks, any integration with Shopify plan, please? So we've got like Shopify buy buttons you can put on Convertri pages. I don't know that much about Shopify. So if you've got details of like what is it you're trying to achieve, that'd be really useful for me to know. That said, what most of our Shopify customers are doing is they create lead capture pages in Convertri first, and then they redirect to their Shopify store. So, I mean, this is kind of like email marketing 101, but it gets forgotten when people do e-com stuff. So basically, instead of directing your traffic direct to your Shopify store to make a sale, you direct your traffic to an opt-in page built on Convertri. It's something like, stick your email address in this box and we'll send you a coupon for 10% off whatever the thing is you're selling. And then you get their email address and then you send them onto the Shopify store to buy the individual thing. But what that means is you're building up an email list asset that you can keep emailing to sell them other stuff without paying for more Facebook and Google traffic to your pages. That's what most people are doing when they, I don't want to say integrate because it's just a redirect, but that's kind of the best use of the two systems. Oh, cool. Sorry, Shelley says Snapped Elements is on. Chucky trying. If it's genuinely not working, if you could record a quick screen recording of it, kind of, it's weird to ask you to record a screen recording of something not working, but like kind of showing what you're doing and the various settings, or just send a link to the editor page to support@convertri.com, so we can take a look and maybe you found a bug in there. You never know; these things do happen. You can put a mail to link. Just literally just stick mail to at the start of the link. Convertri is happy with that in place of HTTP. That's a great question, Shelley. This came up in the group, and I think this is a bug that we need to fix. So everyone loves doing demos of potential bugs live on a webinar, right? Okay, so this is bullets. So when we have a bullet list, in theory, so this is item 1, this is item 2. Yeah. Okay, so this is item 3. Then in theory, you're supposed to be able to highlight these and toggle bullets off. Well, there you go. Yeah, we have indeed broken that. Humblest apologies, everyone. I'll file a bug report when we're off this webinar, because the intention is you should be able to highlight stuff, click that, and the bullets go away, same as it does in Word, but that's clearly not happening. See, I wasn't kidding when I said we're honest about stuff around here. JP asks, if we have the monthly template membership plan, can we remove the Convertri branding but still host on the fast servers? You can do that with any of our plans. It's on by default, but on a page by page basis, if you open the page menu, you can turn off the whether the badge is shown for a specific page, or if you just if you don't want to show the badge at all, then in affiliate program settings, toggle that off and click save. I should note that if you make changes to this setting, you will need to publish affected pages. What we don't do, we never republish pages unless you hit the publish button. So what a lot of our competitors do is they update your pages all the time based on stuff you do, and it makes it very hard to know what state your pages are in. We have a very definitive line between making changes and publishing changes, and we will not change anything about your pages unless you hit that publish button. So you never have to worry about what the state of the pages is. All the previous training videos, like past webinars, all of our knowledge-based stuff is help.convertri.com. Mail 2 didn't work. Am I about to embarrass myself for a second time live on a webinar? So let's say we were making this into a link. So that's just publishing. Refresh the publish page. That's worked fine for me. If you can't get it working, can you, as I say, can you send us the page to support@convertri.com and we'll have a look, see what's messing up about it. But yeah, unlike the bullets, that one is working. Oh, GoToWebinar is very unhappy all of a sudden. There we go. Cool. Okay, guys, that's the 2-hour mark. And the questions seem to be drying up. So all that leaves is for me to say thank you so much for coming out on a Sunday. I hope you got a lot out of the training and the Q&A. As always, if you did miss anything, if you want to watch the replay, it will be up at help.convertri.com and we will email it out to you as well. And we do encourage you, come hang out with us in the Facebook group. Neil and I practically live in there. We're always happy to answer your questions. And if you've got any more technical issues, like account specific stuff, not just how do I do something, do drop us an email to support@convertri.com. We're here to help. We really are. Cool. Thank you so much, Garfield. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, JP. Awesome. I will, as I say, I'll be around in the Facebook group and taking care of a load of stuff for one more week. And then the week after that is going to be awesome. Cool. Thanks, Craig. Thank you, Michael. Cool. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Sunday. Cheers. Thanks, Brian, as well. Thanks, John. Okay, I should probably stop saying thank you to everyone that thanks me. Seriously, guys, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.